I've gone back and forth about sharing this, but I think I need to put it somewhere. This happened when I was a sophomore at a school in the Northeast. I won't say which one. And I'm in Kappa. I'm an English major and I've always taken my academics seriously because I'm trying to get into law school after I graduate. That's important context for what I'm about to tell you. Last semester, I enrolled in an upper-level English Romanticism course. The class was small, around 25 students, mostly juniors and seniors. There was a professor who led the seminars, but most of the actual teaching happened during discussion sections with the TA. His name was Roar, and yes, that was his real name. I still don't know if it was his first or last name, but everyone called him that. He was in his late 20s, kind of lanky, and gave off an "I'm in a band, but not a good one" kind of vibe. He was just an odd person. The class itself was fine. Lots of close reading, lots of discussions about nature and memory and all the usual romantic themes, but participation was always dead. Most people just waited for Roar to fill the silence, and he hated that. You could tell he felt awkward, and then he'd start cold calling people and snapping at them when they clearly didn't know what was going on. There was one guy, though, who always kept things going. His name was Luke. He was tall, had brown hair, and the only other thing I knew was that he was in one of the better fraternities on campus. He knew how to make jokes at just the right moment, not in an annoying way, but in a way that broke the tension. And he actually did the reading, which was rare. When he talked, you could tell he understood the material, so his humor felt earned. He wasn't trying to be the class clown. He just had a presence. I remember thinking he was smart but kind of goofy. Since I needed participation for my GPA, I ended up being one of the only other people who talked regularly. So it was usually me, Luke, and maybe 2 or 3 others carrying the conversation while everyone else zoned out. Roar seemed to appreciate it. He nodded along when I made a point, and sometimes built on what I said in ways that felt validating. For my first essay, I remember it clearly, I wrote about ambiguity in Wordsworth's Tintern Abbey. It wasn't brilliant, but I was proud. When I got it back, Roar had written long, detailed comments, not just corrections. He actually agreed with my ideas. But after that, things shifted. Roar started paying more attention to me in class. He'd call on me more, ask follow-up questions, hold long eye contact. At first, I told myself I was overthinking. TAs like certain students all the time. But then he started asking me things that didn't feel academic. Around the same time, I started running into Luke more outside of class. Our sorority and his fraternity had a lot of overlap. I think Greek life is mostly stupid, but we were both in top houses, so we went to the same mixers, date nights, and parties. Luke was always there. Naturally, we talked more, and I started liking him. After a few weeks, he asked me to grab dinner, and I said sure. We went on about 3 dates before things progressed. He was sweet and attentive, everything you'd want. We started sleeping together, and it felt normal. I wasn't in love, but I liked him. It was simple, low maintenance, and easy. One afternoon after class, I walked to my car and saw Luke behind the lecture hall smoking a cigarette with Roar. They were talking like they knew each other, which felt strange. I didn't even know Luke smoked. When I asked him later, he laughed and said he was trying to get on Roar's good side so he wouldn't have to try as hard at the end of the semester. I told him that was pathetic, and he laughed and said he'd take pathetic over a bad grade any day. A few weeks later, when I came back to his room, I noticed his phone next to him on the bed with a YouTube video playing. I know I shouldn't have looked, but I was curious. I'm a college girl in a sorority. The guys I'm surrounded by give anyone trust issues. So I went through his phone. I didn't know what I expected, but I definitely wasn't expecting a collection of photos of me. And there were many. Some were harmless, me studying, walking to class, but others were suggestive. Some were ones I had sent him, but many were ones I had no memory of ever taking. I wasn't mad, just creeped out. If he had asked for most of them, I probably wouldn't have said no. I didn't wake him up. I just went to sleep, unsure how to feel. I didn't tell anyone because I was embarrassed and didn't want him to know I had snooped. A week later, after he fell asleep again, I tried guessing his password. It was his birthday reversed. This time, I checked deeper. Messages, deleted photos, everything. And I found something horrifying. He had been sending photos of me, those photos, to an unsaved number for weeks, basically the entire time we'd been seeing each other. It was disgusting and probably illegal. I started shaking. I took pictures of everything. Then I started crying uncontrollably. I slapped him awake and demanded to know whose number it was. He tried to lie and said it was his backup phone, that he liked having copies of everything. I knew instantly it was a lie. I stormed out before he could convince me to stay. I was a wreck. It was the worst week of my life. I won't get into the aftermath because it still hurts and I don't want anyone figuring out who I am. The unknown number belonged to Roar, my TA. The police got involved. Luke confessed quickly. He said Roar had been paying him hundreds of dollars for the photos. It had been happening since the beginning of the semester, maybe longer. I don't know everything and I don't want to. Luke got expelled and Roar got fired. I'm pretty sure he went to jail. But even then, their punishment didn't feel like enough. That was a year and a half ago. I'm a senior now and almost done with school. I'm relieved about that. I've dealt with everything in my own way, and I won't get into that. But I thought it was all behind me. A few weeks ago, I noticed something. There's a silver sedan parked outside my sorority house late at night. Not every night, but often enough for me to notice. I haven't seen anyone get in or out. I don't know if it's one of them. I'm probably being paranoid, but it's freaking me out, and I don't know how they'd even know I live here now. I moved into the house long after the situation with Luke. Anyway, if anything else happens, I'll update.